everybody. This is Dan Fredrickson, the creator of the Hyperbaric Lifestyle and the book Bohica, Stories of Navy Divers. You know, the other day I was getting up in the morning and I was not feeling all that great, and I had a less than positive mindset. And I walk into the bathroom and I look in the mirror, and what do I see? An aging old man, flabby, looking gray, tired already, not feeling so hot, thinking, oh man, I could go back to bed right now and not even miss it at all. Boom, something happened. All of a sudden I get a phone call and I got some really great information. I was only on the phone for a couple minutes, but then when I walked back in the bathroom, whoa, who is this person looking back at the mirror with me? That wasn't the same old man there before. What it was is a young, vibrant, happy, energetic guy there. Who was the other guy before? Not after this one. This one was awesome. I was ready to take on the world, and I had a plan for the future now that I had a good light open up for me, because that one phone call took me from being in a dark cave to a beautiful light of future experience and wonderful day heading for me. So when I meet my new patients, I immediately think about their mindset. I start to ask them lots of different questions, and I want them to walk in the clinic and eliminate their negative mindset. Anytime a new patient walks in here, they're always thinking, this is probably not going to work. My other doctor didn't help me, so how can this help me? So my first mission is to learn as much information as I can about them to find out how we can change that. It's pretty neat when you take a person that walks in the door and they're thinking it's not going to work, this is a strange place, I don't think I like it here. And you take it from them in a few minutes, they're saying, I really like it. It's nice, people are friendly, and I'm meeting people that are actually being cured and are healthy. What a difference from going into a hospital or a medical center and you see everybody sick and walking out sick. People walk in here, feel kind of lousy, and they walk out feeling better. That's the way all medical facilities should be. Why not this one? So if you set a change of mindset as the first thing, you're on the road to healing right away. I've discovered that most people have underlying issues that contribute to what's going on in their sickness or their problems. And by finding out some of these underlying issues, we're able to bring them out in the open and be able to use that to help them in their healing path. It's the most important part of all. You can't heal without a positive mindset. It's just one of those things. You just can't do it. It's like my water stays cold unless I put heat on it. Why doesn't it get hot? Because you have to put heat on it. It's one of those things that it just doesn't happen unless you do something like that. And you can walk in the door with a mindset that it's not going to work and it's not going to work, and you're going to be completely correct, because it won't. I had a stroke patient that was like that once. We had already had 4 people before him that had much more severe symptoms than he did. And they almost completely got rid of all their symptoms by the time we were done with them. And it was really spectacular because he met all of those people and he was at first thinking, oh, this is great. But his habit of negative mindset made it so that after 40 treatments, he was one of the very, very few that had limited success. And every time I would talk to him, he'd always tell me, this ain't working. This ain't working. And he fulfilled his prophecy. Every other stroke patient after that, before and after, had excellent success. But his mindset made it so that he wasn't going to be successful and he was going to prove it. The way I figured out how to get out of a mindset was, first off, you have to be honest with yourself. And the way you do that, my style, and something that was very difficult for me, was I got in front of that mirror again and I looked myself deep in the eye. I couldn't turn away, because you can't lie to yourself. Unless you're really good. But you know you're lying. The problem with it is that unless you could deeply look in yourself and see what's going on in your life, you will always do the same things you always did before and be on the same path you always were before, And if it's not the perfect, wonderful path you're on, why are you walking it? And you know you're doing or being a certain way is not positive, but you're either too lazy or just don't have enough discipline or no motivation, which for me, motivation is the key to everything. Am I motivated to change? I have to have a reason. And that's the biggest key, a reason to be motivated. That is the key to any healing and to anything positive in life. You can't just do it to do it. I used to have a hard time with that when I used to work out a lot because I was a really avid athlete. I surfed big waves, I ran marathons, I wrestled, I did all kinds of different stuff competitively. But the issue with that was I had to constantly be telling myself, you're gonna get better, you're gonna do great. Anytime a negative thing came in, I had to combat it. My friends did better than I did, and it would bum me out. But the main thing with this is that you have to have that positive mindset and be telling yourself constantly that this is going to be great with you, because everybody has the habit of thinking negatively. It's easy. It's like a garden. If you don't completely take care of your garden, the weeds take over, and you don't even have to plant your weeds. The main part of that is your garden wants to grow straight and strong, and you take care of it. And keep the weeds out. That's the negative thoughts. Your negative thoughts are like weeds. You got to constantly be pulling them and taking them away, or in this case, brushing them away out of your mind. You can't lie into that mirror. With my patients, that's what I try to get them to do. You have to face a reality, but we got to have some fun with it too. It can't be all serious gloom and doom. I tell them funny stories about some of the patients that were in there, and by the time they're done, they have been able to look at themselves and say, okay, I'm willing to make these changes if I want to be healed and be happy. And the nice part is we had enough examples there of showing what that could be, from taking people from a place of despair all the way up to a place of happy healing and being an inspiration to a lot of the people that met them before. They come in, they say, gosh, you were in terrible condition. You're doing great now. And then they motivate someone else that came in that way, and it's to pass it forward. I love that. I've had so many patients that came in and they said, and they'd been towards the end of their treatments, and what they said to us then was, and they would meet a new patient that was kind of in their situation, and they'd come up and they'd tell them, so they'd see us say and go, yeah, you're gonna heal, but then they meet someone that says, I've already been there, and this is what happened to me, and it's wonderful. And that's the best part, because they have been able to change their mindsets from one patient to another, and they passed it forward, and that was a positive for both of them. They got to pass it on and feel that wonderful feeling of passing on that happiness and that love to someone else, along with being able to see that that person now gathered it and then they could do it. And it gave them hope. And it was so cool to watch different patients interact and then have them both end up feeling great. So the biggest key with this mindset is to figure out what your plan is. And that's why I say everything affects you, because just like going down the road, if someone throws a bunch of garbage in the road, you got to either go around it, go over it, or however you do it. And it's the same thing here. You need to have your game plan and your path to happy health. I call it happy health because I don't want to just have health, because I want to be happy when I'm doing this. I want to feel good when I'm doing this. And the idea then is to set these paths and these goals that are reasonable at first so that you can get the game rolling. And once you start to see it, that it's working, it's so much easier to want to do this. I like the fact that we start easy, we start contributing to their health and your mindset, and pretty soon it becomes the habit. And it's so much easier to have that habit and being able to brush the negativity as just a sideline. It's so cool. All of a sudden something comes in your head and you go, I don't like that, gone. It's not part of my goal. And that's the best part of it right there, is training people to positively clean and scour their brain of all this garbage. And it becomes fun after a while. When I sit and quietly think about different things, I catch myself sliding into that negative mindset. And it's so much easier because in my mind, I smile and I go, you're a sneaky little guy. You're not getting through this. Boop, and knock them out. I make a lot of games where I'm like, I don't know if you ever remember those games at the amusement parlor there that have the little heads that pop up and you hit them with a hammer. Well, that's kind of that thing. They keep popping up and I keep wanting to hit them with the hammer. Hit them with the hammer. They pop up, little ugly thing, boom, done. That way, all that negativity is gone and out, and you feel good about knocking that little thing out of there. So you're not gonna sneak up on me, dude. So that's the key. Constantly moving yourself forward, having a great plan, and being around positive and wonderful people. And that's what was nice at our clinic. When I would bring people in there, everybody was feeling good, you were healing, and it was an atmosphere of healing and positive energy. And you could feel it walking in the door. I was at a seminar a few years back with a speaker named Vern Wolf. He taught me another lesson that I really have passed forward to many, many, many other people, and it's been a lot of fun to do it. What we did is we had about 500 people in an auditorium, and he was talking about different ways to success. He said, you go into school and you go to these master business classes, and they tell you that you got to do it A, B, C, D, and that's the way to do it. The only problem with that is that 98% of businesses fail within the first year doing the A, B, C, D. So why would you want to follow that plan? And what he said was, there's a million different ways to go from A to B. All you have to do is think about how to do it and think of the way to get there. So our little exercise that we did, which turned out to be a lot of fun, was with that 500 people, we had to go from one side of the auditorium to the other. The only problem was that no one could travel from A to B the same way. So what the whole thing of the seminar was is that the traveling to success is your own path. And that's true with your whole life. And we had 500 people do 500 different ways to success. And it was so much fun, and everyone was cheering us on, and we were all getting into it. The hardest part is that after you'd think about one way to do it, about 6 people in front of you would do the same one you were gonna do. And you go, God, I gotta think of something else. And that happened over and over, and I heard all people down the line saying the same thing. Unfortunately, I was towards the end of the line, and I had to think hard to think of a way that was completely different, but it was sure fun, and my brain was on fire. It was so excellent to have that kind of creativity sparking in my head because I was motivated for it. I didn't just look down that path and say, boom, no problem. It wasn't that much fun, but I took that path my way and I had a blast. So that's part of your life. Find your path and take it your own way, because that's the only way you're going to find success, happiness, and self-fulfillment, because it's yours. One of the fun things I like to do is to go on a no-direction travel trip. I'll set a time frame, maybe 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 days, and I'll just get in the car and start driving. I'll go in a general direction most of the time, but it's always a direction that I've never been before. And what I like to do then is if something looks interesting, there's a sign for a dinosaur museum or a toothpick house, I'll stop and I'll go look at it just because it's fun. And I have met some of the most unique, awesome people that way that I never would have met. That's why I kept my mind open and I kept thinking of this Vern Wolf thing. Always do something different, keep your mind open, be creative, and be spontaneous. And it was so much fun to just do that. And that's what I tried to get with my patients also, to give them an open mind and to give them an open path to different avenues of their life that they can help heal them through a positive mindset, and knowing that everything in their life affects them, both mentally and physically, and everyone around them. And the idea is to keep that in a beautiful, nice little balanced area where you can love, care, pass it forward, and keep yourself protected. That's important. You can't just stick yourself out all the time because there's always something that could happen that's not something you'd planned for. But keeping that creative mind and that beautiful plan there, you always will be able to move back and forth. And if something negative happens, you just shift it and work around it again. Because that's what life is. It's dealing with adversity and learning how to get around it. It's how you affect, or how everything that in your life affects you, and that's how you react to it. Much I've said in several different things is my statement is 90% of what happens to you is how you act, with 10% of it being what happens to you. That's a big factor. So by keeping your mind open and looking and being creative in your pathways, you now will see different directions in your life than you've ever seen before. When it's kind of nice because you go, how did I get here? You didn't plan it that way, but because you kept your mind open, you were able to move and flow as everything went. And by doing that, your life will constantly be moving. It won't be boring, it won't be stale, and you'll have constant positive influences in your life, along with meeting and doing pretty cool things. Just like I'm doing this right now. I never dreamed I was going to be in front of a camera talking to everyone here, but it's just the way things flowed. And I think it's pretty neat. And obviously it's going to be a path in my life. And I know it's going to affect me because it's going to affect everyone that watches and looks at this thing. And that's my idea. I'm hoping that when you watch this and see this, that it's going to affect you in a good, positive way. And then you might think about something different and think of a different way to do something. Or maybe just meet someone new because it'd be fun to do. So when you start to get the answers and see the path opening up for you, one that sounds and looks appealing, you're going to find that fear disappears. You'll confidently be able to go down this wonderful new direction you're going, and your dreams will open up for you. It's been great talking to you today. This is Dan Fredrickson, and I want to remind you that the only change that you can control in your life is the change you do in yourself.